Will from BadEnoughDudes.com here, speaking with Tim Gerritsen from Irrational Games. So Tim, we're talking about Bioshock Infinite. What can you tell us about the game?
Sure. So Bioshock Infinite is the third game in the series. Basically, it takes place at the turn of the century in a place called Columbia. Now, Columbia is a floating World's Fair that was designed to carry the newest innovations and American exceptionalism and idealism around the world and show these off to different places within the world. But it was revealed to actually be armed to the teeth. And in an incident during the Boxer Rebellion in 1900, it fired on armed civilians in China. And after that incident, the American government disavowed all connection with Columbia, and Columbia disappeared into the skies. No one knew why they did what they did, and from thereafter it started becoming this floating boogeyman, going from place to place and then just raining destruction down at different places around the world. That's the location, but within the game you play a guy named Booker DeWitt. He's this ex-Pinkerton agent. He's down on his luck, he needs work, and someone comes to him and says, hey, I need you to rescue a girl. Her name is Elizabeth. She's being held in the city of Columbia. She's been there for 15 years. You need to rescue her and get her out.
Elizabeth.
Promise me.
I will stop him.
No. That is an oath you cannot keep.
No one knows how to get to Columbia, but the people who hire you do. So you go off to Columbia, you go get her, and that's the easy part. Getting out is going to be much, much harder.
Obviously, the series has amazing villains, especially the big ones. What kind of enemies can we expect from this new one?
Well, you know, the thing is, there are a variety of different enemies. We have two different factions that we showed off now. In our original demo, we showed off the Founders. Now, the Founders were this group of Jeffersonian idealists at first. They basically believed in individual responsibility, that an individual can go as far as they want. Eventually, though, they become industrialists, they become capitalists. They start, looking at workers as really, their purview to control, and they get this attitude that we call, pulling up the ladder. It's where, hey, we were here first, we deserve this, you don't. You latecomers don't deserve it. And so this xenophobia really evolves, and they see themselves as the pure Americans. Now, opposing them is a group called the Vox Populi, and they started as a counter to the Founders. At first, they're peaceful, but as they gain followers, they gain power, and as they gain power, they decide that they can run the city way better than the Founders can, and the two resort to violence and come to blows. So you arrive in Columbia as this is all happening. These two groups are fighting against each other. You just want to get Elizabeth and get the hell out, but you're chased by this guy, Songbird. Songbird is Elizabeth's jailer. He was the one holding her in the tower for 15 years. They have this strange relationship, though. He's both her jailer, and though he's her only companion. And because he's her only conduit to the outside world, she only could talk to him, and they have this strange relationship where she's terrified of him, but he's the only person she can talk to. So because of that, she wants to break out. She wants to see the world. She's read about it. She's been educated about it, but she can't ever go to it. And so when you break her out, she's like a kid in a candy store. But she's terrified that Songbird's going to find her.
But promise me that if it comes to it, you will not let him take me back.
Now, what kind of weapons can we expect, aside from just the powers that he has?
Sure. I mean, right now we're only talking about the ones we've shown. In our demo, we've got the shotgun, we got a pistol, we have a machine gun. The thing is we look at the early weapons of that period. I mean, machine guns were in their infancy. Rocket launchers were still a very early invention, but these are things, in a world where it's basically a floating World's Fair, we played with the science of the time, and we look at the science of the time and see how it relates to the world. So this is the time when Heisenberg and Einstein have very early work that they're doing, and they're looking at the world for the first time in a very different way. So we're looking at that science and seeing how it applies to what we're doing in the game, and we apply it to things like the technology people use to live on a day-to-day basis, the weapons that you see in the game, the vigors that you have in the game. I mean, those are based around the idea of patent medicines at the time, where you could literally buy a bottle that would tell you anything you wanted it to. You know, it would make you taller, it would make you shorter, it would make you thinner, it would make you whatever. You know, you could basically say whatever you wanted and sell it to somebody. And we took that, you know, hey, what if we applied these ideas we have to that and took these vigors to the natural extent? And so we don't want to be limited by just, you know, what was in common usage in the historical period. You know, we're playing with the science of the time and really expanding that out to everything we're doing.
All right, so let's get into the fun stuff, the powers. I've seen the telekinesis. What else can you tell us about?
Sure. In the demo that we're showing off now, we have Murderer Crows again, which we showed off in the last demo, but this time we're showing something called Bucking Bronco. When you're in combat and somebody's behind cover, you can use Bucking Bronco to send up either him or whatever's around him up into the air, which gives you a second to either manage them, and you'll see at different points in the combat. At one point we use in the demo the Bucking Bronco to get guys up from behind cover so you can just shoot them, but other times, you know, let's say I got two groups of guys, one from over here, one from over here, and there's too many, I can't deal with them all, I can Bucking Bronco one of them and then come back to this other group and then just deal with them. So sometimes you use these as tools, sometimes you use them to just buy you a minute or two. Because in Bioshock Infinite, there's lots more people in the world, so you can get into insane combats.
Now, two of the biggest things from the first game were obviously Big Daddy and the wrench. Are we going to see the wrench come back?
Well, I don't know if you saw our Skyhook, which you know, is a pretty badass looking piece of hardware. You know, I mean, the thing is we're not talking about any of the weaponry, though, outside of what we've shown in the demo. You know, suffice it to say we're going to have a ton of weapons in this game, and they're going to be unique and exciting. And one of the things we felt like we failed, though, in the original Bioshock was we felt like we created a lot of different tools, and we created ways to use them together, but at the end of the day, you could just take a shotgun and an electro bolt and power your way through the game. And we felt like that was really a lost opportunity. So this time around, we're trying to mix up the conflicts you get into so that you have to play with all the tools in your palette. You're not going to ever just be able to pick up one thing and just power your way through the game. You have to mix it up. You have to say, okay, I'm in this situation, I'm going to use this tool. I'm in this situation, I'm going to use that tool. And then it's about mixing those things. Like, what if I use this power with this weapon, or this power with this other power? How can I combine them to great effect?
In previous games, you could hack vending machines and things along those lines. Has that returned as well?
Well, other features in the game we haven't shown yet. There's so much going on. We have this idea we call player RAM, where you can only absorb so much in a 15-minute demo, and we think we've already blown the amount of player RAM that you can absorb in our current demo, because there's so much. We're introducing Skylines, we're introducing the Vox Populi, we're introducing how tears work and Elizabeth and how she manipulates these tears. All of this stuff combined, coming together, it's so hard to just, you know, give players everything in the game. So what we do is we stagger them. This time around it was about Elizabeth and about the Skylines and about how she functions. Next time around, you know, we'll talk about other features. So we will get to those details, but right now we're just talking about what we have in the demo.
All right, and what time frame are you expecting this game to release?
Bioshock Infinite is going to release in calendar 2012. We haven't given an exact date yet, but it will be in calendar 2012.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time, and Will from Bad Enough Dudes signing out.